Assalamualaikum everyone. We are from Group 1 and wants to do a presentation on our extended essay, Malaysian government should focuses more on societal factors as they contribute more on obesity issues. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hannan binti Farid Sufian and I am from LEED 1301, Section 3, Group 1. And there are 3 group members in our group. First is Nayli, Udzma, Damia. Second is Ashya binti Abd Aziz. And the third one is me, Hannan, Faliha. Did you know that Malaysia recorded the highest percentage of obesity among ASEAN countries at 15.6% of value of obesity among the population? This puts us in the first place of Asia's fattest country, with roughly half of the population being overweight or obese. Therefore, what is obesity? According to the World Health Organization, obesity is defined as abnormal or excessive fat accumulation that presents a risk to health. Obesity is usually measured by looking at someone's height and weight. The measurement is BMI, which is Body Mass Index, the measurement tool. And how do we calculate it? The BMI is calculated by dividing the weight, which is in kilogram, and with the square height in meters. A high BMI indicates a high body fat percentage. Therefore, someone with a high BMI, which is 30 or more, is considered as obese. In Southeast Asia, Malaysia has the highest prevalence of obesity among adults, which is 19.7%. And as of 2021, Indians have the highest proportion of obesity compared to other ethnicities. This news is a non-shocker because Malaysia has been the fattest country in 30 years. Therefore, Malaysians should not take this issue lightly, as the diseases that are rooted from the obesity are difficult to be cured from. As the saying goes, prevention is better than cure. Why many Malaysians is obese? First, it's because of the lack of individual enforcement of diet restriction. As we all know, the requirement of daily intake of calories lessens as we age. However, most Malaysian adults consume the same amount of calories, or if not more, than they were teenagers. Therefore, the excess energy that is not used will be stored as excess fat in the abdomen or in the liver. Hence, we decided to focus on the societal factors, as the eating habits typically stem from the custom practices of the culture of the society. So therefore, societal factors significantly contributes in the obesity issues in Malaysia. Among the societal factors are parental influence on children's eating habits, differences in socioeconomic status, and the individual behavior towards food consumption.
So in this first main idea, we'll be talking about parents' influence on their children's eating habit. 78% of the mothers in Mohd et al.'s study responded correctly about child obesity, and also they knew the difference between obesity and overweight. This awareness actually plays a very crucial part in influencing their children's eating habit. So what is the factor of this awareness? The first one is knowledge on factor and consequences of child obesity. They might get it from their workplace, they might research for it, but for surely this will influence their attitude towards the children's eating habit. The second one is family history. They might have a family having the same illness, which is obesity, or currently having to fight with this illness. So directly, they will know the consequences or bad side of this obesity, and simply put, they have the knowledge of the consequences of obesity. And then they will surely change their attitude towards their children eating habit. So let's now talk about what leads to parents' positive attitude towards obesity. The first one is high awareness, which we have been discussed earlier. The second one is working or the time constraints of the parents. In Mohd et al.'s study, it is said that working mothers have more positive attitude towards obesity compared to the housewife. Why? There might be 2 reasons of it. The first one is because they don't have the time, so they opt for health consultants. The second one is they just opt for the healthy lifestyle because they knew that they don't have time to observe their children eating habits. And also, to add on, a working mother might have more exposure to the knowledge of obesity, and also because of the colleagues' sharings. So before we go next, let's first define what is positive attitude. The first one is to be less lenient to the children. It means that you are not influenced by their pasturing in the mall or perhaps their temper tantrums. The second one is to conduct more physical activities. In this millennial world and millennial kids, they are more exposed to technology, and obviously they have less physical activities. So it's good when it comes to positive attitude, it means that you are more giving them more physical activities as they should be. So the last one is high supervision. It means that you are supervising them, their eating habits, eating patterns, their perhaps the factors you can avoid more obesity factors when you see them. So let's now talk about how family lifestyle affect the children eating habit. The first one is poor family functioning. The stress in the family and children can give the possibility for them to eat more foods and adapt to an abnormal eating behavior. In Halliday et al. Study, it stated that poor communication, poor family cohesion, poor behavior control, and high level of family conflicts can be associated to the increased weight in adolescents and children. So this proves that family lifestyle actually affects the children eating habit. The second one is the inherited eating patterns. One might think that genetics play the role, but then it might not be, because when you inherit the eating patterns of your family, parents, or perhaps relatives, you will inherit the same illness or come through with the same difficulties that they have been through, which is such as obesity. So the third one is unhealthy habit in parents, or especially in mothers. For example, smoking. In Muhammad Hatta et al. Study, it stated that smoking mothers during their pregnancy will actually lead to more high possibility of getting an obese child.
Next, we move on to the second main idea, which is differences in socioeconomic status. According to the American Psychological Association, socioeconomic status is the social standing or class of an individual or group. It is often measured as a combination of education, income, and occupation. The majority of the countries who use mixed economy will have inequality issues like wealth and income distribution, which leads to bias, as some groups have more privilege than the others. Hence, eating habits are varied among the different social classes, as they have different amount of annual incomes annually. In Malaysia, the lower the income, the higher the risk of the obesity. This is due to the T20, or the rich urban communities, have the access to healthier food options, wellness facilities, and weight management programs. So, for example, an obese person from the rich urban communities they have the means, or he has the means, to consult with the dietitian and have a pre-planned healthy dietary meals to cure their obesity or obese symptoms. However, poor people from the urban communities do not have the privilege to access the healthcare services, as they are too expensive and not fitted to their budget. Furthermore, they have to allocate their small amount of income to necessitate their dependence essentials, such as daily meals and accommodation, as it is their main priority than their health. Therefore, they do not have the means to curb or to control their weight and physical health. Moreover, as fast food outlets are increasing and are more accessible than they were before, the poor people will be inclined to opt for the unhealthy takeout meals. It is almost available everywhere and anywhere, is low cost, and is fit within their budget. In Canada, the risk of obesity is also negatively correlated with the level of income. However, it shows that the obesity issue is more concentrated among the men with from the higher socioeconomic status (SES). Conversely, women from the lower SES socioeconomic status have a higher risk of obesity than the women from the higher SES. This is maybe due to the level of educational background, vegetables and fruit intake, and immigration and the smoking habits of the population. For example, high level of educational background such as degree, diploma, master, PhD, and vegetables and fruit intake, which are mainly focused in higher SES, leads to lower risk of obesity. Conversely, immigration and smoking habits, which is more concentrated among the lower SES or the lower income earners, contributes positively as it leads to the lower risk of obesity among the lower SES.
Last but not least, individual behavior towards food consumption. An individual tends to overeat and lack physical activity, and these practices are contributing to weight gain and have a negative impact on health. These include frequent eating fast food, frequent eating out, consuming high sugary drinks, and skipping breakfast. Other than that, physical surrounding also influence individual in eating behavior in positive and negative pattern. For example, the existence of large supermarket that offer a wide selection of healthy foods at a reasonable price can influence individual eating behavior because of the availability of healthy food at their home. Other example are the growth of fast food chains and restaurants in various areas can give a negative influence because unhealthy food can be consumed easily. Or the availability of recreational areas for physical activity also play the important role in influencing individual behavior. However, eating behavior are not only seen from home but from where most individuals spend time. For example, kids spend a lot of time in school, so their eating behaviors are also influenced by the food provided in school. Researchers have studied that in 1990, 4.2% of children were overweight and obese, and it increased to 6.7% in 2010. This shows the obesity rate among youth is increasing day by day. This is somewhat worrying because children who are obese prolonged, as they become adult, they have a high potential to get illness at such a young age and severe psychological effect. Hence, we need to take obesity prevention earlier to overcome this problem rather than prolonging it later on.
As our topic already mentioned, how government should focus on societal factors in combating this obesity issue in Malaysia, then suppose we should also give a few suggestions to the government. So the first one is for the government to promote health through social media. They can make activities to engage with the public, and also they can use mobile application to assist the public on tracking their health matters such as eating patterns or walking distance, which this method has been used in other countries such as Switzerland. So the second one, the government should make parenting class as a prerequisite for the marriage certification or put it in the syllabus of the university. Why? Because parenting class should be teaching the family or the new leads on how to manage a healthy family, and this is very important for them so that they can have a good and healthy family later. So, and the third one is the government should normalize consultation. How the government should normalize consultation is by giving the public easy access of the assistance or facilities, which is consultation itself. And perhaps the government can promote the consultation using any big figure or known figure by the public so that they can influence the public on having consultation on their family matters, on their health family matters.
Now we will look into the Islamic perspective in preventing obesity and adopting a healthy lifestyle. In Islam, Allah has commanded His servant to take a balanced diet and avoid overeating because the act resembles Satan in bringing harm to morals, physical health, and spiritual life. Allah has said in Surah Al-An'am verse 142, meaning, eat of what Allah has provided for you and do not follow the footsteps of Satan. Indeed, he is to you a clear enemy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also advised humans not to be extravagant, and this can be seen in Surah Al-A'raf verse 31, meaning, and eat and drink, but not excessive. Indeed, He likes not those who commit excess. Besides, looking at the Islamic perspective in preventing obesity and adopting a healthy lifestyle, it is very much emphasized to take care of the welfare of the Ummah. This can be linked to Maqasid Sharia, which is the purpose of Islamic law. As we know, Maqasid Sharia has been divided into 3 categories, which are necessities, daruriyat, needs, hajiyat, and luxuries, tahsiniyat. Preventing obesity is under necessity, which means the absence of this element will cause harm and damage to human life. There are 5 elements under necessities, which are life, faith or religion, lineage, intellect, and property. Preventing obesity can save all 5 elements in it. Therefore, as Muslims, we should take care of our bodies by preventing obesity for our own benefit in the world and the hereafter.